Hello, my friends. In a recent video, Amber did a comment of the day section, and the comment was, please stop wearing those pigtails, you're too old for them, basically. And she did not like that. In fact, she said, no, a lot of adults wear pigtails, and I found that out because I Googled it and I looked at TikTok.
Brittany Bubby said, you're almost in your 40s. Stop with the piggy tails, although it is suiting. So for one, I am not almost in my 40s. I'm only 34. For two, you can be in your 80s and still wear pigtails. For a minute there, I was questioning my sanity. So I went onto Google, I typed in pigtails, I went to the images. 85% of the people that pop up on there are adults. I then did it on TikTok, nothing but adults.
Now, in my reaction to that video, I did Google it and I did check TikTok, and it was mostly kids, but there were some barely adults wearing pigtails. They were all like late teens, early 20s wearing pigtails. And I made the comment that I don't think she realizes she's closer in age to me than she is to those people wearing the pigtails. But it made me start thinking, why does she wear these clothes like this? Why is she so adamant about wearing hairstyles and clothes that people continually tell her don't look good on her? And we're gonna go over that today. We're gonna try to answer a couple of questions. Of course, these are just my opinions, but the first question is, why does her fashion sense, or why do her outfits look so weird to us? What is it about them that makes them look bad? And then also, why is she specifically wearing them? Why does she choose to wear these outfits and these hairstyles against the advice of basically everybody that sees them? So hopefully today we can get to the bottom of that. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not gonna lie. So before we get to Amber specifically and why she chooses to wear these things, I wanna make sure that you understand this is not about her size at all, and this isn't even about whether these things look good on her specifically. It's just about how these colors and patterns and materials and stuff just don't look good together, period. But the problem is Amber, when she hears somebody say, hey, these things don't look good, she internalizes that as though they're saying these don't look good on you. But that's really not usually the case. Now, there are some people that just say she looks bad in everything. But generally speaking, what we're gonna be talking about today is the fact that these things just don't look good together at all. And then we're gonna talk about why I think she chooses to wear them anyway. Just to kind of set the stage, I want you to think about the fact that when it comes to fashion or art or even music, there are certain things that we can see or hear and we just know that it's not right. Even if we can't explain why, there's just something about it that just doesn't work. So for example, when I play this, it sounds right. But if I play this, it doesn't sound right. Now, unless you're like a music theorist or something, you probably can't even explain why. You just know that that just doesn't sound right. You know? Whereas this does. And it's kind of the same with fashion. The funny thing is there's actually a trend right now called pattern clashing, which is sort of the new fashion thing, but there's a right and wrong way to do it, where it's still clashing, quote unquote, but you do it in a way that it's still kind of aesthetically pleasing. Let me give you an example. So I found this article about pattern clashing. It's all how to do it correctly. Now, I am not a huge fan of this stuff, but it doesn't look weird, right? It looks a little off, but it's not so bad that I would look at it and go, ugh, you know? Especially something like this, like in theory, stripes and polka dots shouldn't go together, but if you do it right, it's not so bad. You know, this is fine. Because there are elements about it that kind of connect the two patterns. Like in this, the color of the polka dots and the color of the kind of tiger stripes, turns out it's zebra stripes, but whatever, are kind of matching and sort of draw it together. It says, the reason this works so well is for two reasons. She's using the same basic color scheme, right? So the polka dots kind of match the tiger stripes. And it says, and then the smaller polka dots on bottom don't fight, but complement the zebra pattern on top. And that was another thing that I read where if you have two different patterns, you want to sort of keep one small and one big or something like that. You don't want two really loud, obnoxious patterns, you know? This is another thing where the stripes are small and then the pattern on the skirt is big. So in something like this, and again, I'm not a fashion expert or anything, but I'm just sort of laying the groundwork for why I'm gonna bring up what I bring up about Amber. And they actually have put some thought into what they're doing. They have the big pattern on the bottom, they have the little stripes on top, so that when you look at it, you don't immediately go, I don't know, something's weird about that, you know? It is a psychological thing in our brain to recognize when something doesn't work together. And so when you have something like this, right, you've got these big giant polka dots, I mean, bigger polka dots, and then you've got this really busy mesh, and the colors have nothing in common, right? There was no real rhyme or reason to the color scheme. So when you look at it, it's immediately like, what is going on here? This looks so weird. And again, I can't really explain it. I can just say it looks weird. And then this is sort of the same. It's just busy patterns together that are different patterns that are sort of working against each other. And this one, like, I think if this mesh had been blue or something, you know, kind of a dark blue or a white or something, I don't know, maybe it would have looked better, but it's just something about it is weird, you know? So as far as the fashion goes, these types of weird clashing patterns or clashing colors or clashing materials are sort of a recent thing that she's been doing. This is not what she's always done. She has, in the past, tended to have pretty decent fashion sense and understanding patterns and stuff. Now her hair is another story. So we have this section ponytail coming right out the top of her head. And of course we can't forget the sunglasses on the head as something that she decided at one point that she just really loved. And just as a little side note, I would call these pigtails, but these are fine. It's just the ones on top of the head that just look so childish, I guess. I don't know, it just does not look right on her or just maybe somebody her age, I don't know.
Oh my god, I just remembered, some of you are gonna love this. I forgot my sunglasses in the car. So I probably won't be getting them. Oh wait, actually I see my mom tomorrow. So I'll be getting them back tomorrow. But you guys be hating my sunglasses on my head. I don't know why. I kind of think it's cute.
So as you can see, she even knows that people were like, those sunglasses are weird. Stop wearing them on your head in your house as like an accessory, right? She was wearing them on camera just to talk to the camera inside her house or her apartment. And then she went through this phase where she had this weird like cone head look where she'd put the ponytail holder there and it would just sort of flow down. I have a few of these. And this kind of happened right after the Feline stage. Although she's worn it a couple times recently, but not nearly as much as she used to. And this is one of the better shots of this, but it works better when she's moving her head.
I obviously just could not control falling in love with someone else. I very much fell in love. I did.
Regardless of what stupid thing she's saying there, it's just the cone head thing moving around when she's doing that is just so funny. So what is my theory as far as why she's doing this really weird pattern clashing sort of, but not in a good way? And why is she so against changing when somebody calls her out on it? And why is it that she immediately goes to TikTok to see if it's normal or if she should be wearing those pigtails and stuff? Well, most of us have interactions with society every day, all day, right? We're going to work, we're talking to people all the time, we're running into people, we're seeing each other, even strangers, in a setting where we need to sort of interact and get along and sort of be a part of society. But she is not a part of society. She visits every once in a while, but for the past, well, I guess her whole life, she has been holed up in whatever home she's living in, whether it be a house or an apartment or whatever. And from time to time, she kind of ventures into society and partakes in, you know, the restaurants or commerce basically, and then goes back home, and that's it. That is her only interaction with society or civilization. So her only understanding of what's going on in the outside world really just comes from the internet. So she looks at TikTok, of all places, and assumes that that is a reflection of what society is. And I would argue that is not the case, because what you see on TikTok is real stupid, you know? In fact, I would say it is kind of the opposite of what's actually going on in the real world. Because most of us that walk around and interact with people and stuff like that, they don't act like the people on TikTok. They don't look like the people on TikTok. In fact, most of those people on TikTok that are doing the pigtails and doing all those things, they do it for their channel, and then they go out in public and they don't have those weird hairdos and stuff. You just don't see a lot of the hairstyles and weird things that are going on TikTok out in public. She really thinks that what she sees on the internet is what society is what civilization in America is, but it's just not, you know? So when she sees all these people on TikTok wearing these pigtails and stuff, she thinks that's just a normal thing. And so when somebody calls her out on it, she's like, I'm part of the in crowd. I'm part of the majority of these people wearing pigtails and doing this pattern clashing. Of course, she's doing it wrong. And on top of all that, she is wildly contrarian. So if you say, hey, that doesn't look great, you should probably do something else, she will do it again just to spite you, even if it makes her look like a dingus. Even if she goes out in public and people are looking at her going, what the hell is she wearing? But when they do that, then she can just say it's fat phobia. They're looking at me and staring at me and talking about me because I'm fat. So she has completely insulated herself from any criticism or any understanding of how the world actually works by living her life through her phone and getting her information and her connection to the outside world through her phone. That's just my theory, right? That's just kind of how I assume that her brain works, is that she assumes that when she goes out in public, she's seeing a small sample of stuff, but on the internet, that's where all the real people are. That's what people actually look like in public. But I'm sorry, those pigtails and this sort of thing, of course, she hasn't done this in a while. I will say she kind of got over this kind of weird Shih Tzu look. She has done it a couple times recently, but not nearly as much as the pigtails. So all of this really is just to say a couple things. Number one, we know that she has the capability of having pretty decent fashion sense. And she has done her hair in ways that are really nice. But lately, she has been getting all of her understanding of society through TikTok and just the internet in general. And because she's contrarian and because she just likes to stick it to the haters, she makes herself look like this just because people told her it looks weird, you know? Just so that she can say, I like it that way and I'm confident, I guess. Anyway, it was just a thought I had when I heard that comment and her response to it. I just thought it was strange that her first thought was to go to TikTok to see what's going on in the world. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.